You're listening to We Deepen Media.
Hello, my friends, and welcome to another episode of Deepen with Christina. I'm your host, Christina Weber, founder and CEO of We Deepen, Feminine Weapon, and also a certified relationship coach. This podcast chronicles my entrepreneur journey with We Deepen and shines a spotlight on the relationship industry. It also offers vulnerable insights into my personal dating experiences and the lessons that I learned along the way. And get this, I know a lot, but I don't know everything. And I'm here to learn alongside of you, authentically. Just be myself. So that's what you're going to get in this podcast. Just a girl, a woman trying to figure it all out. And if you do enjoy this podcast, please do like, subscribe, follow, rate it. It helps more people find it, helps me continue to record it. Give it 5 stars. And a new podcast releases every Sunday night, Monday morning. So once you follow it, you'll get alerted each week so you never miss an episode. We Deepen curates best-in-class social and transformational experiences that we've woven together to support you in having an epic love life, more healthy, loving relationships. Yes, please. That's what I'm here for. All the experiences that we curate for you, we offer them at a discounted rate through the We Deepen network. There's always some type of special bonus for you as you register through us. The experiences that I'm going to share coming up today are multi-day events. They're destination ones for you to travel to, and bonds build best over time. So I say come again and again and again and mingle with the people, and let's deepen together. If you're listening in the fall of 2023, these experiences are going to be relevant for you. If not, feel free to fast forward the next 60 seconds. Coming up is the Solar Punk Summit, which is October 12th through the 15th in Kingsbury, Texas. This is about 45 minutes outside of Austin, Texas. It's a gathering that promotes regenerative culture, community building, and innovative solutions for a better future. I'll be there facilitating the Playful Portal. We'll be camping out, having a blast, really good people. I love to have you join me. That same weekend, if you're a woman and you're feeling you want to be in the feminine and bond with other females, Desire on Fire is a sacred sister portal with over 200 women to awaken your sensuality and ignite your feminine essence. This one is October 13th through the 15th in Austin, Texas. Unleash Transformational Festival. This is where people go to fully express themselves, clearing blockages, negativities, anything that's holding you back from being the most authentic version of yourself. It's November 2nd through the 5th, and it's in Sacramento, California. Unleash is one of my favorite experiences. If you haven't been yet, you have to go and check it out. And then the Wonderland Conference. This is the leading event in psychedelic medicine, mental health, and longevity. Over 4,000 people are gathering in Miami, Florida, November 9th through the 11th. I'll be facilitating the Dating Dojo, the Playful Portal, and a mind-blowing intimacy panel. I'm also going to be guiding you in a small group through this conference, introducing you, networking you to one another so you get that small group feeling inside of a larger conference setting. I will never forget that one of my mentors, Dr. Sarah Nazaratum, told me years ago that if you're currently single and you're picturing the person that you'd like to be in relationship with, think of where this person would go. Where would they be other than a dating app? If you're sick of swiping on dating apps, where would the person that you wish to be in relationship be? if you're listening to this episode, you're probably growth minded. And I imagine that they may be at the Wonderland conference or one of the other events that I mentioned. So come and let's be together. Let's date. Let's like fall in love. Let's do all the gushy things and be in community together. Again, go to wedeepen.com. You can register through the platform, and I would love to see you in person. Today's podcast is with one of my spiritual advisors this lifetime, David Ghiyam. He is a teacher of Kabbalah for over 20 years. I started studying Kabbalah at the Center in New York City a decade ago, and I've taken Kabbalah level 1, 2, and 3 multiple times. I've read many Kabbalah books, and it's wisdom that I continue to tap back into that has been supportive of my hopes, dreams, everything that I've done, my transformation this lifetime. In this episode, David and I get into soulmates, discernment, love, and how sometimes our desires are conflicting with one another and how to resolve that. Listen, check it out, enjoy. We do start unpacking. Wherever that there is great light, there's always darkness, and that is at the Kabbalah Center as well. But the wisdom is Kabbalah, the wisdom of Kabbalah. Highly recommend that.
Oh, so is that still going on? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. There's still. Yeah.
I mean, I can help clear that up whenever you want, because I mean, the people who are coming now and the classes are packed, and people are like, yeah, okay, so that happened and you dealt with it, and that happens in every organization. So just make sure it's dealt in the right way and move on. But if there's more that's festering, anything I can do to help that, be happy to.
Drama happens in all types of organizations, right? The light and the dark is always present.
Oh, I mean, it's par for the course. You just have to deal with it in the right way. You can't avoid it. You just have to deal with it.
So the reason I wanted to have this conversation today, I reached out twice. I want to dive into love and desire, and then separately discernment. Okay. I think they all go together in some sense. So the first, one of the things of me studying at the center over a decade ago, I've taken these like nuggets of wisdom that I have not let go of. One of them being love and life are pretty much the same thing if you want to live a growth inspired life. And love, which I read in the book Kabbalah on Love, that little pink book that I left from a event that you spoke at, an intro to Kabbalah event that you spoke at New York City over a decade ago. And I had it sit on my bookshelf for 2 years before I picked up and opened that book. And it was around a time I was questioning what love is. Like there's no one definition that we have all aligned on as humans, being like, this is what love is. So I picked up that book, and when I read through it, it was this like, my whole body had this like instinctual feeling like this is it. And what they say at the end of that book is that, or what I took from it, that, love is earned, especially a soulmate type love. And it's through this process of removing layers of the ego, fears, negativity, things holding you back from being the highest version of yourself, coupled with ever increasing acts of sharing, because we give to who we love. Mm-hmm. And I also, in my deep studies of relationships, grab onto lots of information. And there's this idea, by one of my teachers, Esther Perel. She often talks about how love and desire are separate experiences. Love needs closeness and commitment and, knowing the other human, where desire requires mystery, spontaneity, novelty. And those two feelings are like conflicting with one another. But I had
why are they conflicting?
Well, because if they're paradoxes. If I have closeness to you, how do I also not know you? But this is why I reached out, because I was like, well, if we're practicing the sense of love, we're always growing and evolving. And so there's always something new to experience. So why are they different?
Okay. Well, I have a question, because I think a lot of people hearing this everyone's kind of looking for something different. I think the category of love and soulmates is very attractive, and people want to know, especially relative to what they're personally going through. But before I explain the spiritual and Kabbalistic understanding of that, my question to you is, what do you think people are really trying to solve for in this category? Because I've been doing this, I've been studying this wisdom for 24 years. I've been one-on-one coaching and counseling couples for the last 20. So you can imagine like 30,000 hours of just sitting with people and learning about all types of relationships. And I'm curious, what is it that you and your listeners really want to know? Like, that's what we need to tap into here.
Well, there's a longing. I think there's a longing to be in a long-term relationship. Hold on. Is there a longing to be? Most men and women I talk to do not long for a long-term anything, right? That's almost, it seems like, scary to them. I think they're looking for something different and they don't really know how to describe it. But that's what I'm challenging you to tell me based on your experience with people. Well, my experience with people is that, they're looking for, I actually believe that people are looking for they think they want some security. They want stability.
Okay, you just said something different. You said something, these are two different things. A long-term relationship might translate into some form of security, but at the same time, let me throw a monkey wrench in this. We don't know what our soul's journey is. We don't know what our soul needs and the people our soul needs to meet. So on one hand, somebody is holding on to some form of security and using this person or using this relationship as security. But what if their soul is meant to go through a process? Because ultimately our soul came to this world to be one with the light of the Creator. Often we forget that and we rely on people to feed us or fuel us, which is fine temporarily, but we have to remember the goal. So that's why I also challenge people who are looking for security. I say, you can find that temporarily in a relationship, but you will always have taken away from you that which is your crutch. So we have to also be careful that the security isn't a crutch, because there's a higher level that my soul needs to reach with my Creator, so to speak. Because I think you talked about this, and people learn this when they learn Kabbalah, which is, what is the purpose of the soul? The soul came to this world and to receive what's called the light of the Creator. A full connection with the light of the Creator, this energy that is universal, that is for everyone, that includes all the fulfillment, both spiritual and physical. A connection with the light of the Creator also denotes that in this physical world, there is fulfillment, and there's no denial of the physical world, like maybe other spiritualities talk about. However, to achieve a connection with this light, we have to realize that we came to this world with garments of negativity around the soul. And we need to slowly peel away those layers of negativity. Some people call it ego. Kabbalah has a word for it. It's called tikkun. It's my soul's correction. And it constitutes a lot of the fears and negative qualities and traits that we know we have, and the ones that we don't even realize we have yet. And what happens is, and here's the interesting part, because people are always looking for the soulmate. We got to look at a bigger picture here. My soul has many soulmates. I have a business soulmate. I have friendship soulmates. I have romantic soulmates. Your kids are going to be your soulmates, meaning these are souls that are meant to be in your life to help you navigate through a process of transformation. And when you embrace that and you go through that process of transformation, you achieve a oneness with the light of the Creator, which then is that feeling that everyone's actually looking for. So that's why I try to help people focus on the big picture, as opposed to who is this, or what is the love I'm looking for. I want people to be in love with their transformation, because then all the types of love they're looking for will come to them.
So get personal for a moment. I am 42, been studying Kabbalah for over a decade. Okay. And where I have the longing from a quote unquote soulmate person, it's more about I would love to be a mother. and who's the father of the children. And at the same time, I've given it up to God, and I have surrendered to the experience, and I'm in the process. But there is when I'm dating out in the world, there's sometimes a connection that I might have an experience. I've actually recently had an experience with somebody that I then was like, oh, he doesn't, this isn't going anywhere. He's not going to want children. And then the other ones that come to me are like, ready. They're like, let's go, let's do it. I'll be the father of your kids. And I'm like, whoa, hold up. And I think that's an interesting pivotal point in the one journey. It's around wanting to procreate and have a family. And that requires a choice with somebody to create that. So these are conflicting experiences.
Very good. You use the word I was about to use, because I have these sessions with people one-on-one all the time. Usually it's a lot of relationship stuff, but usually also around career and business. People are wondering, how do I scale my business? How do I generate more abundance? And yeah, people are also asking, how do I find love? It takes me about 30 seconds to realize that this person is saying they have certain desires, but they're also not saying something else that exists, which is they have other desires. And if I take all the desires and I throw them on a canvas and say, let's look at all these desires you have, you'll see that these desires are fighting each other. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And they're conflicting with each other. So for example, you could say, I have a desire to have children, procreate. And you'll tell everybody that. And you'll tell me that. And you say, how do I manifest this life? And I don't want to just have a baby by myself. I want to have it with someone. So you have these other desires. However, deep down inside of you, Christina, I would say there's other desires. For example, your desire for independence, your desire to be a career woman, your desire to maybe create a platform that reaches a lot of people. And there's a belief system that becoming this career-driven independent woman who changes lives is in conflict with staying at home, being pregnant, nauseous, breastfeeding, and losing yourself in many ways, as that could be a belief system you have. So what happens here is you have two competing belief systems. And when you have two competing belief systems, when it comes to love, what you attract is what's called the quintessential unavailable man. Because you're really telling the universe, send me something to keep me engaged, but not so available where I'm forced to commit. And you described it perfectly. It's like, either I attract this kind of a man who doesn't want children, or I attract this other kind of man who's ready to jump in, but I'm like, whoa. So what happened was you attracting men that are complementing or feeding both desires, but are in conflict with the other desires. And so what do you want the universe to do? The universe gets really confused. And in business, it's a similar thing. Everybody wants to make more money. Everybody says, I want to have more abundance. So what's the problem? Does the universe not want to give it to you? Does the creator not want to fulfill every desire? Yes. However, the creator is confused by your desire because you're saying you want to make more income, but you're also saying you don't want to deal with rejection and failure. You're also saying you don't want to hire more employees because you hate dealing with other people. You're also saying you have control issues and you don't want to delegate your tasks. So how are we going to help you here, says the universe? And then there's a deadlock.
How do we resolve this?
I think the first question I ask people who are stuck, if you're stuck in an area and the energy is not flowing, you have to know that this stuck energy has nothing to do with people on the outside. It has to do with you are holding two belief systems that are in competition with each other. That's the first acknowledgement people have to make. So what I ask people to do is to actually write down and journal all their desires. The first 10 or 15, everything from whatever comes to your mind. I want to travel. I want passive income. I want somebody to compliment me. I want love, high level, low level, whatever. After the first 15 or 20 you write, those are the ones that are kind of more conscious to you. Then you start to dig up the unconscious desires. I want to be free. I want to come to my apartment and not have to talk to anybody or deal with anyone. I want to be able to throw my clothes wherever I want. I don't want to have to answer to a man. I want to be able to flirt with whoever I want to flirt with. I want to be able to travel on a whim and not have to worry about getting a nanny or having to pay for someone. I actually want a man who's strong, independent, and reliable and financially self-sufficient. But I also want a man who's not controlling, who's humble, lets me do whatever I want. All of a sudden you start to see, whoa, very confusing. There's a lot of stuff I want that are fighting and in competition with other things that I want. And that's the starting point, just to be honest. Now, what's going to move something forward? So I always like to relate it to business. Business and love, they're very similar. Mm-hmm. Why doesn't a company move forward? Because often you have employees that have competing desires. So let's say my sales team wants to grow sales at all costs, but my quality and compliance and legal team wants to protect from downside. So these two teams will always be in conflict with each other. Sales want to grow, quality, compliance, and legal wants to slow down and play it safe. What do you have here? You have bureaucracy. And this company will be at a standstill. Then you have this new company that just started that doesn't have this bureaucracy that grows past the old company. It's a jet ski, not a cruise ship. They navigate terrain beautifully. And that's why we see corporations fall and new ones come about. But if a company can get all employees swimming in the same direction, rowing in the same direction, the flow of energy comes through, the light of the creator comes through. So all our desires are like competing employees. Each one has a different KPI, a different goal, and they're not incentivized properly. So when you say saying, because you say you're saying to the universe, I imagine saying is through your behaviors, is through your actions. And I've also heard you say your subconscious desires. Yes, it does manifest as actions, but whatever actions people are doing have to do with something that they're feeling inside of themselves. Okay. So, but that's effort. That's you're putting in effort, and the creator sees that you're putting in effort. There's also this experience of surrendering, right? We're surrendering. And we don't know what's like, to also trust that the creator has a plan for us. And even though our brain is maybe like these desires, like right. To also, we're not even our desires, right? Are we, because we're being like God has us. Correct. So a good analogy for this would be, let's say a person has severe sugar cravings and they want sugar all day long, but they're also, let's say, pre-diabetic and overweight, and they know that consuming sugar is going to be really bad for their health. Well, why does their body crave sugar, even though the body also knows it will destroy itself? So let's say, for example, this person has parasites in their body, like in their intestines, and we know that parasites love sugar. So what's happening is this signal to give me sugar is coming from the parasites. So when a person says, I desire sugar, who is desiring the sugar? Is it the body? The body knows if you give it sugar, it's going to die. So it's the parasites that are communicating and overpowering the body's desires. And we know this because when a person starts to cleanse and eat very healthy, they look at food that wasn't good for them and they don't want it anymore. They don't crave it because they've cleansed the things inside of them that wanted it. It's like almost these other entities, call them parasites, spiritual or physical. So when we say our desires, we have to realize that there's the soul's desires. Then there are all these other forces that we've covered our soul with that have different desires. So it's very confusing. Like, well, what should you be telling the universe? Universe, please, like creator, please help me connect to what my soul needs. I'm not sure what my soul needs.
Yeah. Cause it's, being a woman at 42, there's biological things happening inside the body that's like procreate, have babies. And
why wasn't that there 10 years ago?
Great question.
Right?
I think it's always been of like, this will happen. There was always I don't need to necessarily do. I'm putting the effort in of doing the dating, of showing up, I created a whole company about this. So
yes. But Christina, if I had spoken to you 10 years ago about this subject, I would have said, Christina, just be careful about one thing. If you want something and it's not happening right away, it means that there's something else that you also want that's blocking it. So let's not wait 10 years to find that. I challenge you to find that now. And yes, you're creating a company to do it and all these things, but that could also be a distraction, right? I don't know. I'm not saying it was. I'm saying people often wait till the last second to feel the pressure to do something.
My second grade teacher told my mom this about me.
That you have this tendency, right?
I have this tendency that I will always wait till the last minute, but then she'll get the job done and she'll do it really, really well.
Okay. So imagine what signal that sends to the universe. You're basically telling the universe, I'm the kind of person that will do what my soul needs to do and change in the way I need to change only when my back's up against the wall. So create a reality for me, creator, where I have tremendous pressure, pain, and chaos that forces me into a time limit to do something. And that's when I'll take action. So that's the reality you create.
Well, I also want to acknowledge I probably dated hundreds of men like in the past. Like I it's not that I've been sitting in my home by myself. I also do understand that we're at our time coming up. Last question though.
By the way, you've dated hundreds of men, but what difference does it make if you date 1,000 in a day one, right? The point is you understand the vibe. It's about the vibration that we're putting out there. But by the way, this conversation we're having, you know this. It's helping so many people. It's helping me. It's helping you. Because this is all of us. We're all doing this. We're doing it in different areas of our lives. And we're not picking on you, obviously. You actually so gracefully said, hey, let's workshop me for a moment. Let's get personal. So I took the invitation. But what's amazing is you're living the life that you want. This is exactly the life that you've always wanted.
I love my life.
That's my point. My point is what you've achieved at 42, even though you're not married or you have children, this is always what you planned for. And it's the world you created. You're a manifestor, Christina. I know you. When you want to do something, you make it happen. So if you don't have children today, it's because your goal was not to. And I want every other person out there to know that in 10 years from today, whatever their life looks like is because that's exactly what they wanted today. So be very clear about what you want. Don't be confused that there are hidden desires you don't really know about, but those desires are at work.
One last thing that has always stuck with me that you have said is when, even this term soulmate, I see so many people put so much importance on deciding who this person is. Like they'll meet somebody and decide, I think this could be my soulmate. Mm-hmm. And then it becomes so heavy in that experience. And I look back at, I see it as in when I'm 80 years old, I can look back at my life and be like, oh, that was my soulmate and this and that. I don't need to know in each moment. But you had said, you know what? If you go through a breakup, take the soul of your soulmate and put it into a new mate. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that to switch it from soulmate to what my soul needs. And there is this force that follows you everywhere you go in your life. And this force enters people who you are close to and activates a soulmate energy in them so that they can be everything you need them to be to achieve your perfected self. Mm. The soulmate is not a person. It's an energy force. This energy actually follows us. We're always with our soulmate. And this energy force follows us from person to person. It enters each person. And then that person at that time becomes the person we need to be the greatest version of ourselves, either through pain or through love or through tragedy or through abundance, like whatever it may be. It's a limitation to think that it's a person. It is an energy force that is following us everywhere we go.
Thank you so much, David, for your time and your energy. I hope to do this again. We can have another quick podcast in the future. This is great. And I will include the links in this episode of where to find you on Instagram, as well as Kabbalah, taking Kabbalah Level 1. I highly recommend taking Kabbalah Level 1. I've taken Kabbalah 1, 2, and 3 multiple times. I think 3 times each of them.
Yes.
And there's also a business program that you offer as well.
Yes. I mean, there are millions of people around the world who study Kabbalah. The most powerful way is a masterclass that we gave called Kabbalah1.com. So that is my recommendation if people want to learn spiritual laws of life, to start there.
Thank you so much, David. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Listening. Bye for now.